I know that everyone wants to panic after this loss, and I get it. You lose by 31 on the road to a team that's supposed to be one of the best in the AFC, and you don't look like you can really hang with the best of them in the AFC. But overall, I'm not terribly discouraged, as backwards that might sound after this loss. I mean, don't get me wrong, this was a bad loss. This was a bad performance. But ultimately, I still feel like this Broncos team is somewhat what the record says they are. And that's a 5-4 team that's probably going to be right there in the wild card hunt. And given what the expectations were going into this year, I'm not going to let a 31-point loss be an absolute just mood killer for what's been, I know, right now doesn't sound like a great time to bring it up, but a pretty successful season as we reach the halfway point. I mean, the Broncos offense and defense just failed today. Vance Joseph had a plan, and it was, do not let Lamar Jackson beat us with his legs. What he forgot about is Lamar Jackson has a right arm, and that's what really came back to bite the Broncos defense in the butt. But the offense today, it had some trickery. We got a Courtland Sutton touchdown pass to Bo Nix. That was pretty cool. Nix might be the first rookie quarterback to throw, run, and receive a touchdown pass in the first 9 weeks of the season. Unofficial stat right now, I'm going to say he's the first quarterback to ever do that in his rookie year. But Nix finished the day 19 for 33, 223 yards, and 1 interception. I've already seen some discourse online about what about trading Courtland Sutton away now that you don't feel like you're a real contending team. I disagree with that thought. I don't think it is good for Bo Nix's rookie development to trade away his number one receiver. Sutton today, we can throw his receiving numbers on screen. 7 grabs, 122 yards. You're telling me we're going to make Bo Nix a better quarterback by trading this away? Like, I get it if you were a team that has 1 or 2 wins and you feel like we're not going anywhere, but you're not. You're a 5-win team, and this year was all about developing Bo Nix anyway. So are you really going to make Bo Nix all that much better by moving on from his number one target to get a 5th-round draft pick? I don't think you're going to get that much from Courtland Sutton to begin with. Look what Deontay Johnson just went for. Ask yourself, would you rather have a number one receiver for Nix's rookie season or a 5th and a 6th-round pick swap? I'd rather have a number one receiver. Now, the offense, like I said, like the defense, failed today. Javonte Williams in the ground game, once again, very little talk about. 12 carries, 42 yards. Audric Estime, he had 5 carries for 35 yards. I mean, there were some nice runs at times, but by and large, this ground game really didn't produce a whole lot for Denver. And ultimately, they were in a big hole early on because this defense just did not show up today. And that's kind of the real story of the game in my eyes. I know 10 points is bad for the offense too, but when you give up 41 defensively, and keep in mind, going into this week, this wasn't oil meets water. It was the number 1 offense in yards per game in the Baltimore Ravens versus the number 3 defense in yards per game with Vance Joseph. And we saw who won this battle. It was Baltimore. Now, does the defense have to panic or hit the panic button after this game? I don't think so. Nick Bonito's 6-game streak of a sack comes to an end. Key did not have a very good game at the safety position. They missed P.J. Locke, and hopefully they can get him back soon. And you guys can look over some of the other stats here. I mean, the Ravens weren't fantastic on 3rd down. They were just fantastic at explosive plays. Lamar Jackson was carving up this Denver secondary. Why Vance Joseph did not move Surtain to Zay Flowers earlier in the game, I don't know. I understand that Surtain's an outside corner and Flowers plays more of a slot, but you know what? When Zay Flowers is carving you up and there is no outside corner you are afraid of, I think we can live with putting Riley Moss and Rashad Bateman if it means the number 1 receiver goes up against the number 1 cornerback in the entire National Football League for a day. Don't you agree? More on the defense in just a moment, but first, a quick shout out to our sponsor today, which is Game Time. If you want to go catch a Broncos game, an Avs game, or a Nuggets game, get started with Game Time today, because with Game Time picks, you can filter out the fluff to see only the best deals, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I love about Game Time is they offer the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. It's also time to talk about what was a one-sided affair. I mean, the Ravens just had their way with the Broncos. It was somewhat of a perfect storm. Like, the Ravens come off a loss last week against the Browns. They're hungry for a home win. The Broncos coming in feeling like they've got big chests right now, and they've got some hair on it, ready to hang with the best in the AFC. And, well, ultimately, Vegas giving the Ravens 10 points was probably not enough. Lamar Jackson, 16 of 19, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, they were able to put it in cruise control so early in this game. They made it a focal point, being Denver, to not let the Ravens' run game beat the Broncos. Lamar, 3 carries for 4 yards. I know Derrick Henry had a touchdown, but he was pretty bottled up in the first half. And ultimately, in the second half, they were able to kind of put their foot on the gas and start to run away with this game. 23 carries, 106 yards. But it was not like that in the first half. And at the halftime, it was 24-10. But Vance Joseph just forgot about this whole passing concept, right? He was like, oh, shit, I did not think they would actually throw it. Well, we were not prepared for that. And this is what happens. 5 grabs, 127 yards. That second touchdown, or the first, whichever one it was, right before the half, that was a real, just dagger right there. Sloppy tackling and a real exclamation point on what would be an absolute air raid type of, it was basically at the Battle of Britain right there, but it was only the Luftwaffe out there. I mean, there was no resistance at all to the Ravens' aerial attack. Henry had a grab for 27 yards. I mean, everyone was getting involved in the receiving game. Mark Andrews, his old man, was moving around the field. 2 grabs, 26 yards. So, yeah, unfortunately, very little pressure on Lamar Jackson. Nick Bonito's 6-game sack streak comes to an end. DB's not have a good day. No one had a very good day, if we're being honest. But what comes next for the Broncos at the NFL trade deadline? It's pretty much what I've been saying this whole time. Nothing. I don't think they should buy. I don't think they should be giving up valuable draft assets after losing 31 points to the Ravens and feel like we are one piece away from beating the Ravens. If they lost today on a Justin Tucker 55-yard field goal, you know what? If they feel like a running back would have made a difference for them in that game and they get a chance to play them again in the playoffs, then yeah, maybe you could talk me into going on trading for Travis Etienne. But I don't think Travis Etienne would have been a difference maker in this game. Do you? So I'm not interested in giving up any good picks. If you want to give up a 6th or 7th rounder, all right, those picks are kind of worthless in my opinion, to a level. As for trading players away, I mean, if someone wants to trade for Greg Dulcich, why stop him? He's not doing anything for you. So if teams are calling about guys that are not contributors on your teams, I don't really care what your record is. I understand you don't want to shake up the locker room too much, but this isn't a Disney movie. This is a business. And if you can get currency, which is draft picks, for someone who's not producing for you on the field, it's a no-brainer in my opinion, unless they are the funniest guy in the locker room, and this team cannot operate without their jokes and their comedic relief after losses for the rest of the season. So if someone wants to call for Greg Dulcich or for Damari Mathis, by all means, I'm all ears. Dumbo ears. But as for meaningful transactions, trades that would involve a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in trading away a player that would get you a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th because that's probably going to be one of your best players. I don't think you should make that type of move at 5-4. And I'm definitely not interested in trading for a player that would cost you a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th unless you think they are going to be a part of your long-term vision and not just a half-year rental. At 5-4 with a 31-point loss to the Ravens, yeah, I don't think a Travis Etienne is going to be a difference maker for this team in the playoffs. Like, this is still a team, in my opinion, that can make the playoffs, and that's going to be an awesome accomplishment. To get a rookie quarterback a playoff start, you're going to feel really good about the experience he earned in his first season. But I still don't feel like they are a team that's going to be winning a lot of playoff games to the point where it warrants giving up a good draft pick. That's a tough pill that I think some people need to swallow. So, once again, the final, 41-10. It was a bloodbath. It sucked. Let's not kid ourselves here. But hopefully a rebound next week in Kansas City against the Chiefs. And you kind of go back home with, your tail not completely between your legs, but feeling like, okay, we split this two-game road stretch against two tough teams that were both in the AFC Championship last year, and that's as good as an outcome as we probably could have realistically asked for coming into this week. That will do it for us on today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not already, and I'll see you all later with more Broncos news and rumors.